World War I and World War II were two of the most transformative conflicts in human history, each filled with dramatic events that not only shaped the course of the wars, but also forever altered the political, social, and technological landscape of the world. From surprise attacks and strategic betrayals to groundbreaking battles and unprecedented use of technology, these wars were defined by moments that left people in shock and awe. Today, we will talk about top 5 unsolved mysteries from ancient times. So before we get started, make sure to hit that like button. Also subscribe to my channel. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand, 1914. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand on June 28, 1914, in Sarajevo is widely recognized as the immediate spark that ignited World War I. As heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne, his death was a catalyst that set off a series of events leading to a global conflict. Franz Ferdinand and his wife, Sophie, were shot by Gavrilo Princip, a member of the nationalist group Black Hand, which sought greater independence for Slavic peoples under Austro-Hungarian rule. The assassination, although a single act by a lone gunman, triggered an avalanche of political reactions and a rapid escalation of tensions between European powers. 2. The attack on Pearl Harbor, 1941. On December 7, 1941, Japan launched a surprise attack on the U.S. naval base at Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. In a matter of hours, Japanese forces decimated the U.S. Pacific Fleet, destroying or damaging nearly 20 ships, including 8 battleships and over 300 aircraft. The attack resulted in the loss of 2,403 American lives and left the U.S. Navy severely crippled in the Pacific at that time. This shocking and brutal assault stunned the American public and shattered the nation's policy of isolationism. Prior to this, the U.S. had largely remained neutral in a growing global conflict, with only indirect support for the Allies through measures like the Lend-Lease Act. However, the attack on Pearl Harbor radically shifted the political landscape in the U.S., leading directly to the nation's formal entry into World War II. 3. The sinking of the RMS Lusitania, 1915. In May 1915, the British passenger ship RMS Lusitania was torpedoed by a German U-boat off the coast of Ireland. The attack resulted in the tragic loss of 1,198 lives, including 128 Americans, and shocked the world. The sinking of the Lusitania was one of the most significant and controversial moments during World War I, as it highlighted the brutal and indiscriminate nature of unrestricted submarine warfare. At the time, Germany had declared the waters around Britain a war zone and had begun sinking Allied ships, including civilian vessels, in an effort to disrupt Britain's supply lines. Although the Lusitania was a passenger ship, it was later revealed that it was carrying war supplies, which provided some justification for the German attack. However, the targeting of a civilian ship filled with innocent passengers caused outrage around the world, particularly in neutral nations like the United States, which had thus far maintained an official stance of neutrality in the conflict. 4. The Blitzkrieg and the fall of France, 1940. In May 1940, Germany's Blitzkrieg, lightning war, strategy took the world by surprise. With a series of rapid, coordinated attacks using tanks, infantry, and air power, Nazi forces quickly overran France and much of Western Europe. The speed and efficiency of the German invasion shattered conventional military tactics and left France, with its formidable defenses like the Maginot Line, overwhelmed. The fall of France in 6 weeks stunned the world and left Britain to stand alone against Nazi Germany for much of the war. 5. The atomic bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, 1945. On August 6, 1945, the United States dropped the world's first atomic bomb on Hiroshima, Japan, followed by a second bombing on Nagasaki just 3 days later, on August 9, 1945. These bombings caused immediate and catastrophic destruction, killing an estimated 200,000 people, most of whom were civilians, and leaving the cities in ruins. The sheer scale of the devastation, with entire populations wiped out in seconds and the cities reduced to ashes, shocked the world and highlighted the terrifying power of atomic energy. The bombings were a culmination of years of scientific research under the Manhattan Project, and they marked the first and only use of nuclear weapons in warfare. The bombings not only showcased the destructive potential of atomic bombs, but also raised profound ethical questions about the use of such weapons. The sheer scale of the loss of life and the long-term suffering from radiation exposure left deep psychological scars on both the Japanese people and the world at large. 6. The Battle of Stalingrad, 1942 to 1943. The Battle of Stalingrad, fought between Nazi Germany and the Soviet Union from August 1942 to February 1943, is considered one of the bloodiest battles in history. It marked a major turning point in World War II on the Eastern Front. The brutal urban warfare, combined with a harsh winter, decimated both armies. The eventual Soviet victory was not only a shock to the German forces, who had expected to capture the city quickly, but also shattered Nazi morale. It was the beginning of a relentless Soviet counteroffensive that would eventually push Germany back to Berlin. 7. The Miracle of Dunkirk, 1940. In the early days of World War II, after Germany's Blitzkrieg overwhelmed much of Western Europe, more than 330,000 British and French soldiers were trapped on the beaches of Dunkirk, France. Facing imminent annihilation, the British managed to evacuate these soldiers in what became known as the Miracle of Dunkirk. Over the course of 8 days, a fleet of military and civilian ships, including fishing boats, ferries, and yachts, rescued the stranded soldiers. Despite the loss of equipment and supplies, the evacuation preserved much of the British Army, allowing it to fight another day. 8. The Winter War between Finland and the Soviet Union, 1939 to 1940. The Winter War between Finland and the Soviet Union started in 1939 when the Soviet Union invaded Finland. Despite being vastly outnumbered, the Finns mounted a fierce resistance using guerrilla tactics and their knowledge of the harsh winter terrain. The Soviets were shocked by the resilience of the Finnish forces, and while the Soviets eventually won the war, they suffered heavy casualties. The Winter War shocked the world by showing how a small, under-equipped country could hold off a much larger military power. Finland's performance in the war remains a source of national pride. 9. The signing of the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact, 1939. In August 1939, Nazi Germany and the Soviet Union signed the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact, a non-aggression treaty that stunned the world. The idea of a fascist regime and a communist state agreeing to cooperate was shocking and went against the political ideologies of both regimes. The pact paved the way for the invasion of Poland and the beginning of World War II. The division of Eastern Europe into Nazi and Soviet spheres of influence, as stipulated by the pact, had lasting consequences on the geopolitics of Europe. 10. The D-Day Invasion, 1944. On June 6, 1944, Allied forces launched Operation Overlord, better known as D-Day, the largest amphibious assault in history, against Nazi-occupied France. The invasion was a massive, coordinated effort involving over 156,000 soldiers, as well as air and naval support. The successful landing on Normandy's beaches was a huge shock to the Nazis, who had fortified the coastline but failed to anticipate the scale of the invasion. D-Day marked the beginning of the end for Nazi Germany, as the Allies began their push across Western Europe. What do you think of our video? Let me know in the comments section below. Before you go, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.